So for those who don't know the John Danaher's terminology, you have arimi ashigarami, inside ashigarami, legs still on the same side, outside ashigarami, and then you have your variations of cross ashigarami, and nowadays this is called, people call this 50-50, and then you can get into 80-20, etc. But remember, make the distinction whether your leg is crossing from one hip to the other or it's going across the same side hip. And arimi ashi just means like entry ashi. It's usually the ashi you will enter into first. And I want you guys to get in the habit of respecting straight ankle locks. Okay, I have a good friend of mine, a black belt named Daisuke Yamaji. Daisuke came here from Japan in high school. He was one of Henzo's first Japanese black belts. And Henzo's good friends with his family. And I met Daisuke when I first went to Henzo's in 1997, 1998. And Daisuke is one of the original leg lockers. He was leg locking when it was not cool. He would always watch like videos of like Shuto and Pancrase in Japan from the 90s, and he would take Henzo's jiu-jitsu and he'd apply leg locks to it. And most jiu-jitsu instructors in the 90s would be like, leg locks, no, 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 no. They were forbidden because it meant people didn't need to know how to pass the guard. Brazilians were very big on like learning how to pass the guard as a big part of the art for control. So people who didn't want to pass the guard and just wanted a leg lock, I was one of them when I was like a white and blue belt, where it was generally frowned upon. But Henzo let us do leg locks. He would be like, yeah, you want a leg lock, go ahead, leg lock. He would encourage us to pass the guard, but he never said, no, you couldn't do leg locks. He wanted us experimenting. So Daisuke was tapping everybody with leg locks, and he had straight ankle locks. And he tapped so many people with his variation of a straight ankle lock. He had a nasty variation where he got like the inside of his wrist right here, and he would hold everything in place, and he would come down here, he would bring his leg in tight, and he would extend. You feel like your foot's getting cut off by a blade. He would get very fast taps. John Danaher tends to have a little bit of a different style. I teach both. I tend to use John's method sometimes, but I've tapped a lot of people with Daisuke's method. But my point being, going back to Daisuke, he's good at heel hooks. He actually, John Calistine, if you ever heard of him, is Daisuke's black belt. Respect the straight ankle lock, because if you know how to do it properly, it's not just pain, it can actually damage the foot. It's a very effective lock. So we're gonna look from arimi ashi, using this arm to come inside and underneath. We can hold our own shin or our knee if we want to, or we can just come here, and what we want to do is use this to make a sawing motion until we can get his heel touching our rib. This is really key. Why do I want Eric's heel touching my rib? Because his defense is to boot his foot, like he's putting on a boot. If he puts the boot on and his toes are flexed, it's going to be very hard for me to ankle lock him. Somebody with very strong tibialis muscles has been doing jiu-jitsu, it's going to be hard to straighten that foot now. A lot of people will abandon it and go to heel hooks. However, if you get that heel in front of the rib and you connect here, when he goes to boot, the boot is gone. And I can connect here, I can connect here. Either of these grips are acceptable. I can even do a one-handed grip where I put my hand on the floor. It doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first take my head offline and start looking over my shoulder and start bringing my chest toward the floor. Whatever grip I use now, I'm going to place my second foot here on his hip, and I'm going to cross my feet, however you want to cross them. And I'm going to start turning my belly to the ground. And Eric feels it. Eric's got longer legs than me, but if I do this, it's going to put tremendous pressure on his ankle, and it will eventually snap these tendons in here. So you can get tremendous pressure on a straight ankle lock if you guys follow this method. So here, I lock, I come under, makes it hard for him to boot. You can even hold your own leg. And I want to come under and saw until I can get deep in here. Anywhere in the middle of your bone or down here. And I want Eric's heel on my rib, and I want my arm and his shin to be making a cross, not an X, a cross. From here, hand down, bring your hip out, or rather your head offline. This comes here, and now it's a matter of extending. And with the foot on the hip, you get a tremendous ankle lock, okay? Let's give it a shot.